Hey, what if I told you that scientists are trying to bring back a terrifying, prehistoric wolf that went extinct over 10,000 years ago? Not just any wolf. I'm talking about the dire wolf. Yeah, the same one you've probably seen in Game of Thrones. But this one was real, and way more terrifying. But here's the twist. Scientists might actually be close to bringing it back. So, are we seriously playing God now? Should we be excited or freaked out? Stick around, because we're diving into the wild world of genetic resurrection and how close we really are to seeing the dire wolf walk the earth again. Okay, let's clear one thing up. Dire wolves weren't just big wolves. Nah, they were built different. These beasts were straight-up monsters compared to today's gray wolves. We're talking about 150 pounds of raw muscle, with jaws strong enough to crush bone like it's a potato chip. They lived during the Ice Age, and their range covered almost all of North and South America. Imagine them stalking through frozen forests, hunting mammoths, bison, even horses. Yeah, horses. Not the kind you ride in video games, real wild horses. And while modern wolves are all about speed and agility, dire wolves were power tanks. Broad chests, thick necks, giant heads. Basically the power lifters of the wolf world. They didn't just chase prey, they crushed it. Fossils show they lived in packs too, which means coordinated hunts, group attacks, and a tight social structure. So yeah, dire wolves weren't just lone beasts. They were organized killers. You wouldn't want to be out hiking in the Ice Age and run into a pack of these bad boys. Now, here's where it gets mysterious. Dire wolves were apex predators, top of the food chain, right? So, why did they vanish? Well, rewind to about 10,000 years ago. Earth was warming up after the Ice Age. Forests turned into grasslands, glaciers melted, and tons of big animals started dying off. Mammoths, saber-toothed cats, giant sloths. It was like the end of an era, and the dire wolf caught right in the middle of it. One theory says they couldn't adapt fast enough. Their prey, huge Ice Age herbivores, were going extinct, and dire wolves weren't exactly built for speed or scavenging. Meanwhile, gray wolves and coyotes were smaller, faster, and more adaptable. Evolution's version of survival of the chillest. Another factor? Humans. Yep. Our ancestors were spreading across the Americas, hunting everything from mammoths to moose. And when humans show up with spears, fire, and teamwork, even the most dangerous predators have a problem. So, with their food source disappearing, humans competing for territory, and the environment changing rapidly, dire wolves just couldn't keep up. And just like that, they were gone. A whole species wiped from the planet. Alright, now here's where things go full-on Jurassic Park. Back in 2021, a headline dropped that made people go nuts. Scientists to bring back the dire wolf. Sounds insane, right? Like how? It's been 10,000 freaking years. Turns out, scientists weren't just bluffing. A research team actually sequenced DNA from dire wolf fossils found in tar pits. Yeah, those sticky death traps in California. And what they discovered flipped everything we thought we knew on its head. You see, for decades, people thought dire wolves were just bigger cousins of gray wolves. But the genetic data said, nope, dire wolves weren't even true wolves. They were a completely separate lineage that branched off millions of years ago, more like a distant cousin than a big brother. And because of that, crossbreeding them with modern wolves? Totally off the table. Their genes are just too different. So if scientists want to bring dire wolves back, it's going to take hardcore genetic engineering. We're talking CRISPR tech, cloning, and probably years of lab work. One approach that's being explored is something called de-extinction through proxy. Basically, you take a close living relative, like a wolf or even a dog, and modify its DNA to express ancient traits. Bigger size, stronger jaws, denser bones, build a new animal that looks and acts like a dire wolf. Now here's the twist. Some scientists say we might already have the tech to do this. Others warn that it's dangerous, unpredictable, even unethical. But one thing's for sure. The line between science and science fiction is getting blurrier every day. Now, this whole bring back the dead idea isn't just about tech, it's also about ethics. Sure, it sounds cool to bring back dire wolves, but where would we even put them? These animals were built for Ice Age ecosystems that don't exist anymore. There's no mammoths, no saber-tooths, no wild roaming horses. We barely have space for regular wolves, and they already get hunted in some states. And imagine if the new dire wolves don't act like the originals. What if they become aggressive toward livestock, humans, or other animals? Do we risk creating a problem we can't control? Some scientists argue that this money and tech could be better used saving endangered species that still exist today, like the red wolf, which is nearly extinct. They're like, why bring back what's gone when we can still protect what's barely hanging on? Then again, others say it's about righting past wrongs. Humans may have helped wipe out dire wolves, so maybe we owe them a second chance. Plus, the tech we develop for de-extinction might help in other areas, like curing diseases or preserving biodiversity. In the end, the question isn't, can we do it? But, should we? All right, final truth bomb. No, they haven't brought one back. Not yet, anyway. The headlines made it sound like there's already a dire wolf running around in a secret lab somewhere. But in reality, we're still years away. The DNA they found? Useful, but degraded. The tech? Promising, but not quite there. What scientists did do, though, is crack the code on what dire wolves really were. And that's huge. It changes how we look at evolution, extinction, and the history of predators on this planet. And who knows? In 10, 15, maybe 20 years, you might turn on the news and see a dire wolf 2.0 being released into a controlled reserve. Or maybe we'll decide to let the past stay buried. But either way, one thing's for sure. The dire wolf ain't just a Game of Thrones creature anymore. It's real. It ruled. And maybe, just maybe, it's coming back.